do anything, or is everybody ready?
My pasta's ready.
All right, as soon as this recording starts in the app, we'll be good to go.
Session recording has started.
All righty, good to go.
The research question that we gave ourselves for this project was, to what extent has the debate of contraceptive sex education versus abstinence-only sex education reduced the rate of teenage pregnancy within the United States? To answer that question, we have conducted extensive research which has brought us to the conclusion that sex education is not working to prevent teenage pregnancy.
Let's establish the issue at hand. Teen pregnancy costs taxpayers an estimated $11 billion each year, and only 50% of teen mothers will complete high school by age 22. This poses problems, and preventing teen pregnancy is in the best interest of the United States for a variety of reasons. Sex education plays an important role in influencing teen pregnancy rates, and there is debate over what the most effective form of sex education is. The question at hand is, to what extent is the promotion of abstinence the most effective method of reducing teen pregnancy in the United States when compared to comprehensive sex education and improved contraceptive access? We'll need to define a few terms for this presentation. Abstinence-only sex education focuses on teaching students to abstain/not have intercourse, and it teaches that abstinence is the only option for preventing pregnancy. Generally, it does not educate students about contraceptive use or options available for prevention of pregnancy. Comprehensive sex education is also known as safe sex education, and it focuses on teaching students about contraceptive use and how to minimize pregnancy risk. A contraceptive is anything that is meant to prevent pregnancy and includes condoms, birth control pills, and long-acting reversible contraceptives like IUDs and implants.
With the social and cultural lens, religious groups play a huge role in abstinence-only versus comprehensive sex education. Most prominent religious groups, or those denominating from Abrahamic religions, advocate for abstinence-only education. For example, Hisham al-Talib, in his Guide for Raising Children via Islamic Rules, argues against a prominent sexual education in schools. He instead aims for children to be taught abstinence only as a way to align with Islamic teachings. Secondly, socioeconomic factors play a significant role in access to sexual education. In affluent areas, comprehensive sex education programs are well funded and readily available, which has led to a decrease in the number of teen pregnancies seen in that area. On the other hand, economically disadvantaged regions with limited access to such programs see a rise in teen pregnancies. African American communities also see more teenage pregnancies due to the disparity in access to comprehensive sex education. In other minority groups where abstinence only mentalities are instilled upon their youth, there is a higher amount of teenagers who report feeling uncomfortable with sex and sexual topics, which can have serious consequences for individuals' physical and emotional well being.
Okay. The three kinds of sex education that we've gone over so far are abstinence only, contraceptive, and comprehensive. All of these things give different educational value to the sex education system. The abstinence only campaign was begun by President Ronald Reagan. This campaign did not work well for teens as it did not reduce teenage pregnancy rates, and it also did not reduce teenage sexual activity. Contraceptive sex education was added into the school systems, and it lowered pregnancy rates, but it did not lower teenage sexual activity. Lastly, comprehensive sex education was added into the school systems in the 70s, and it reduced teenage birth rates and reduced teenage premarital sex.
From an economic standpoint, teen pregnancy is associated with a high cost for the U.S. government. Therefore, it is in the U.S.'s best interest to reduce teen pregnancy rates. Evidence in favor of abstinence-only sex education is lacking. There was a review of a study by What Works Clearinghouse Institution that was meant to promote abstinence-only education, but it still had to acknowledge the fact that it found that abstinence-only education did not change the rate at which students had unprotected intercourse. Comprehensive sex education has much more evidence supporting it. A paper by Stangerhall and Hall noted that abstinence-only education was actually found to increase teen pregnancy rates in some states, and that for every $1 spent on contraceptive access, $4 were saved in spending associated with unintended births. Now, evidence on whether providing comprehensive or contraceptive access at schools improves their use varies. Some studies found that providing condoms at schools increased their use, while others found that it did not. One study conducted in Seattle found no difference, while a study conducted in New York found a difference. But it's important to note that the studies used different methods of distribution. The study in New York used school-based health clinics, while the study in Seattle used baskets and vending machines. So this may influence the results of the study. Therefore, more research is needed.
With the perspectives considered, it is clear that comprehensive sex education is more effective than abstinence-only education in prevention of teen pregnancy. From an economic standpoint, comprehensive sex education is the most cost-effective method of preventing teen pregnancy when compared to abstinence-only education. Comprehensive sex education is the most inclusive approach to sexual education and increases confidence within teenagers in their social settings. From a political standpoint, comprehensive sex education works best as it reduces both teen birth rates and teen pregnancy rates, allowing for the U.S. to have a better overall appearance. Evidence around the benefits funding contraceptive access for teens seems to vary. From an economic standpoint, it would be more logical to fund research to prove that funding contraceptive access improves their use. From a political standpoint, conducting more research on contraceptive access would improve America's image in showing that they are ready to make changes for young teens' lives. And then it's our works cited.
Works cited.
Alrighty, very nice, thank you. So now we will enter into the question section. Question. Okay, so Kenneth, tell me a little bit about how your way of thinking about this question changed as a result of the information that Sina found.
Let me just think for a second. Well, personally, when I was researching the topic, I was more focused on, more along the lines of hard facts. This is how the numbers work. This is how the numbers work out. I wasn't really thinking too much about social or religious factors because that wasn't really what my lens was focused on. And I think that just kind of overall changes how I'm looking at the issue now. There's more than just one factor. You can't really condense people down to just numbers. There's a lot of different thoughts and opinions and beliefs that go into that. And that goes into their opinions on the debate over what form of sex education is the best.
On my overall understanding of the topic, I believe that the social cultural lens had more impact towards mine as a political lens because can you guys still see me? Okay, my thing just kind of crashed a little bit. So I believe that the social cultural lens had more impact on my lens because the social cultural was like how many, or like it depended on the nations of like different people, like such as African American communities didn't have, or African communities didn't have as much sex education, so therefore the rates of teen pregnancy were higher, such as like for the political lens, like America's kind of focused on like their sort of standpoint and like how they are viewed as a country by other countries. It has more of an impact with the social cultural because of how different countries would like to be viewed.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So Sina, uh, keeping in mind that we are being recorded and could possibly be watched for auditing purposes by the College Board, um, if you had another team member in your group, what other perspectives or limitations could they have researched that you think might have contributed to the project?
I think lens that would have been beneficial to our project would be the health and like medical lens, because when researching with topics on sexual health, you find a lot of sites talking about the influence of STIs and other diseases being transmitted among teenagers, and how comprehensive sex education mitigates that and helps reduce the amount of sexually transmitted diseases among teenagers. So if there were another person and they focused on that lens, then I think it would have benefited our viewpoint.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end the